Welcome back to Operation Sicily. I'm Jonathan and I'm in the middle of restoring a long abandoned villa here in rural Sicily. It's a huge project, slow, messy and full of surprises, but that's all part of the adventure. This week I set out to knock through the wall into the tower, which should have been straightforward, but as you'll see, things didn't go quite to plan and it's left with a bit of a dilemma. On the plus side, I stumbled across the local concrete works and it just so happened to have exactly what I've been searching for. So there's a delivery on the way that should help with another part of the restoration. And if you caught episode 31, stay tuned, because at the end of this video I'll be diving deeper into those old documents and letters we found whilst clearing out the garden. It's a little piece of Sicilian history you won't want to miss. Today, I'm knocking out the wall and doorway that leads into the tower. Eventually, this is where a spiral staircase will go, taking you all the way up to the roof terrace. The tower, with its little round room, is actually one of the biggest features of the property, so don't really see the point in hiding it away behind a door. Instead, I want it to be something you notice as soon as you walk into the property. I've got a plan for a bespoke staircase that I think is going to look incredible, so creating this opening now will help showcase that vision right from the start. To make it work structurally, I've ordered some beautiful reclaimed oak beams, which I'll be using to support the ceiling above. They'll add a real solid rustic touch and keep the character of the space intact. It's a big step, but it's one of those changes that's really going to shape the feel of the house. While we were out and about, me and Louis stumbled upon a local concrete works, and by pure chance, they had precast lids that fit the cesspit chambers perfectly. The old lids are crumbling and well past their best, so I was planning to replace them anyway. Finding ready-made ones that fit was a bit of a lucky break. I've not figured out exactly what's going on with the cesspit system yet, but in last week's video, there were some brilliant suggestions in the comments, so thank you for those. In the coming weeks, I'm going to try out a few of the ideas and see if we can get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, these are like close to the side of this as well. I think this is quite good. This is also great. The left hand side.
Yeah, the main. Nice, wasn't it? Stand it up this way and get that in here. Hold it there.
Yeah. It's gonna be such a fucking roll. Whoa!
What? So that's on that side, spray.
I hurt my arm lifting it. Am I doing anything?
No. Robert's, crowbar there. That's my pipe.
Oh yeah. Did you get one of them massive Jubilee clips?
I didn't see one big enough for that. I mean, that's like a standard 110 pipe. That's much bigger, that one. Better than out in it.
They just say.
Can you reach? Oh, there? Yes, see.
Ciao, grazie. I think he surprised himself there.
Yeah, told you anything's possible, dude. As you saw earlier in the video, the SDS hammer drill broke while I was knocking out the wall in the tower. It literally snapped in half. It's seen some pretty heavy use lately, but it's not that old, and thankfully it's still within the repair or replacement time frame. So now I need to return it to Leroy Merlin in Palermo. The problem is I've got a busy couple of weeks ahead and I really need to make the most of having Lewis on site. I just don't have time to make a separate trip to Palermo now. The round trip usually takes about 3 hours. Since I'll be dropping Lewis off at the airport in Palermo soon, I've decided to tie the drill return with that trip. But here's the dilemma. I was hoping to get the knock-through finished while Lewis is still here, so he could help me lift the beams into place. They're solid oak and very, very heavy. So it's looking like I might have to tackle that part on my own, which honestly, I'm dreading.
This week, I want to share something completely unexpected and honestly quite moving. In case you're wondering, I'm Abby, John's partner. A couple of weeks ago, John and Lewis were clearing out an old rubbish pile in the back garden when they handed me a bundle of old papers and asked if I could figure out what they were. At first, I thought it was just scrap, but as I started going through the yellowed pages, I realised this was no rubbish. It was a personal archive, an entire life sealed in time. One name appeared again and again: Antonia de Gregorio. Born in 1899 in Mazzara del Vallo, she was a teacher, a public servant, and a woman who dedicated her life to education, teaching generation after generation in tiny village schools even before Italy's national school system was fully in place. But she wasn't just a teacher. She worked for a decade in the local post office, and more than anything, she was a fighter. Inside the bundle were service certificates, appeals to government offices, and a spotless criminal record check. There was also an official retirement document from 1964. But what struck me the most was how much she had to fight, not just to work, but to be recognised for it. One letter described a school in ruins, walls crumbling, classrooms unsafe. Antonia and her colleagues taught in the sacristy of a local church. She wasn't writing to complain, she was asking for help, for repairs, and for acknowledgement that they were still teaching in those conditions. Antonia spent years teaching in subsidised schools outside the formal state system. No pension, no contract, no benefits. She fought tirelessly. For over a decade, she wrote applications, legal requests, and appeals to have those unpaid years recognised. Even as she neared retirement, she was still chasing justice from the ministry. In 1960, she submitted a formal request. In 1963, she followed up again. In 1964, she was still writing and still pushing. She didn't stop because she couldn't afford to. Through fascism, war, and rebuilding, Antonia kept teaching, often unpaid, sometimes in borrowed spaces, and always without security. But she kept going because for her, teaching wasn't a job, it was a duty. I haven't confirmed a direct link between Antonio and this villa, but another name in the papers, Carmelo Palazzo, once owned this property and died in 1982. His daughter, Carolina, eventually inherited the property that we bought. So maybe Antonia lived nearby, maybe she knew them, maybe she once stood in the same orchard, walked the same dusty roads, or looked at these same hills. Whatever the connection, I know these papers didn't belong in the bin, because this villa isn't just a renovation project. It's a living piece of Sicilian history, and as we bring it back to life, brick by brick, we'll keep uncovering and sharing the stories of those who came before us, because this place holds more than old walls. It holds voices, it holds lives, and they still deserve to be heard.
I just want to mention, before I forget, a few key features of my new head torch, the Elvis Craft H650R. First feature, safety feature, is the red light at the back here, which can simply be turned on by this white button. The silicone headband, super comfortable for all day use. Doesn't dig into your head or anything like that. Also in the box, helmet clip or a cap clip, which is great, for construction work. Also fully rechargeable by this port at the back. If you can see, it's just covered by a silicone sort of cap there to prevent any water or dust getting in. But yeah, it's a USB-C. And the head torch also comes with the charging cable, which is fantastic. The beam range of this head torch is up to 200 meters. And what you can do this, like when it's pushed back, this silver ring, that's like a wide beam. And then you can just pull this out and that will focus into a smaller dedicated beam. But yeah, it's got a range of up to 200 meters, so it's more than sufficient for most people's use. Water resistant and impact proof. So it's really built to last, you know, this product. And, you know, all the products that I have from Elvis are built to last, you know, the decent quality. You know, you can feel that just by touching them, you know. The battery life is fantastic. You know, I'd recommend a head torch for anyone, you know, doing DIY, mechanical work, camping, hiking, you know, on your bike, anything like that. Anyone looking for hands-free lighting, you know, this is your go-to product. There it is.